Okay, so here we are. We're doing a demonstration for Module 13 of Switching, Routing and Wireless Essentials. And so we've actually got two networks here that we're going to configure. One is a home network, so it's just a simple home router. Then of course all the clients to connect. And then we've got an enterprise network, and so we've got a wireless LAN controller, one lightweight access point, but actually we can once you've done the wireless LAN control, you can have any number that you like. And of course, we're going to actually create two wireless LANs on the enterprise network, one with a pre-shared key and one with the authentication. So in other words, WPA2 enterprise, I think. Anyway, so here's the addressing table, and so it also does give us some other information as well. So the home router needs to have DHCP. It also needs to have a non-standard IP address. So standard one, of course, is 192.168.0.1. It wants 6.1. It also wants /27, and the standard is /24. So we got to play with the addressing a bit. We've got home SSID. I might copy that in readiness for using it to configure the devices. All right, so let's have a look. So you will apply your wireless LAN skills and knowledge by configuring a home wireless router and an enterprise wireless LAN controller. You will implement both WPA2 pre-shared keys and the enterprise version. Finally, you will connect the hosts to each wireless LAN and verify that they have connectivity. All right, so you need to, of course, configure the home wireless we're doing first. So we need to connect to that. So, of course, in the real world, you'd have to have a host wired in probably, but we don't need to go that way, because we've got the GUI item. And so the first, remember, was it needed to have DHCP for the internet connection. It needed to have 6.1 for its address, and it needed to have a 27-bit mask. So that's 24, 25, 26, 27. All right, and so what else? We need to have 20 addresses in the pool. First address .3.1 was a bit silly, and already done the interface, and we need the DNS server, which I can't remember what the address was. So 10.100.100.252, 10.100.100. All right, so that is, I think, all we needed to do for the home wireless router. I think I've done everything, so I'll hit save, or at least for the step one. I haven't done the wireless configuration yet, actually. Now the completion has risen to 13%, so can't have gotten too much wrong. All right, so wireless. So of course we need to go to the wireless page here, and the first one is basic setup, and so we need 2.4. So from that, it's implying to me at least that we're disabling the 5 gigahertz. And what else do we need? Configure the interface with the SSID shown. Of course, I copied that. Control V, home SSID. It wants to use channel 6. So it's on channel 1 at the moment. And be sure that all wireless hosts in the home will be able to see the SSID. So that's SSID broadcast. And so that's the basic wireless settings, I think. We're up to 17% now. Seems about right. Now we need to do security. And so it's wireless security there. And so with that, we need the WPA2 personal. And from memory, it was Cisco 123 for the passphrase. And also the same password, and no, this isn't best practice, it's easy for the lab, the actual password for the router as well. So we need WPA2 personal and Cisco 123 is the passphrase. And so if I save that, hopefully it will rise from 17 to 21. Cool bananas. I think I've got that right. And so to change the password for the user, it's actually under administration and management, and so Cisco 123, Cisco 123. Save those settings, and we're now up to 23%. Alright, I think that's all we need to do for the actual access point. Might sort of speed things along. Alright, now to configure the actual devices to connect. And so with the tablet and the smartphone, there's no desktop tool as far as I'm aware. And so you need to put it in the config tab, and so the SSID is that. WPA2 shared key, Cisco 123. Hopefully that should connect in the not too distant future. And it has. Cool. Same for the phone. Wireless. SSID. Pre-shared key. Cisco 123. And that should connect as well. Winning. Now there is the laptop, of course, is got a copy of the Windows operating system, and so there is a tool for it. I've got to admit, I don't like the profile tool. As soon as you've got security, you need to create a new profile. And so we're going to do new profile. I might just do home SSID because that's there. We'll choose that network. Hit advanced settings, so infrastructure mode, and of course the SSID is there. DHCP for the host, that's cool. WPA2 personal, Cisco 123. Next, and that should be it. And so go back to the profile screen, select it, and click on connect, and hopefully we should get a connection. And we did. Cool. So of course I could have actually gone in and done the config tab there as well, and would have been identical, but of course, yeah. Alright, so let's test connectivity. So we have, let's ping an IP address to start with, Control C. IP address, might be the odd ARP request in the middle to resolve before we actually get a ping through. There we go, having a win. And so Control C, let's try pinging that. Let's test if DNS works. Now, there's probably going to be the odd ARP request required to get to the ping to the DNS server before the ping can start. But once the DNS resolution has happened, all four should succeed because it's already beaten that path. And away we roll. So the home network looks pretty good. I suppose we could get fancy. See if the web browser works. And again, all good. Home network, done. I suppose we could check results. And so with the home router, all good. The laptop's configured right, the smartphone's configured right, the tablet's configured right. Of course, the rest I haven't done yet. Alright, so that's what's 40% and not more. Okay, so configuring a wireless LAN controller network. So configure the wireless LAN controller with two wireless LANs. One wireless LAN will have WPA2 pre-shared key, much the same as the one we just did. The other LAN will use WPA2 enterprise authentication. You will also configure the wireless LAN controller to use SNMP server and configure a DHCP scope that will be used by a wireless management network. So basically the steps you need to go through is you need to actually create the VLAN interfaces because each wireless LAN is going to be on a different VLAN just to keep their traffic separate. Then you need the DHCP scope. That's just so that the wireless access point can actually get an IP address. It's probably got nothing at the moment. Yeah. Of course, this one does because it's got a static address. And so you need to create DHCP so that access points can actually communicate on the network. Then you need to set up the radius server, well, the radius server's already been set up. You need to configure to talk to the radius server, and then also the SNMP server. And then once all that's done, then we can actually create the wireless LANs. And so from there, create the 2 LANs with the different settings, configure the hosts, and we're all done. So, all right, back to the top. So we need to create the 2 VLAN interfaces first. Now, there is a bit of an interface on here, but not much. You actually need to use the web browser to get to it. And so all you can really do is do port settings here. This is how the IP address was set up, and away we roll. So I'm going to use the enterprise admin host. I'm going to use the web browser. And the IP address is 192.168.100.254. Now it's actually not going to work because it actually wants HTTPS, but I can add the S now. Let's build in that blank, and it does now work. And so I might just sort of widen the browser a bit. And so admin and Cisco 123. Again, not best practice for the passwords, so that is where the password was set for us. And so now when we open it up, we go into what's called monitor mode and gives a bit of a summary of what's going on. Not a great deal because we haven't set much up yet. Now, we actually need to go into the controller to configure things first. So we need to set up the controller first before we can then get it doing other things. So this is again a general settings page to start up with, but we need to go to interfaces now. There will be 2 interfaces. One, the management, of course, that's what I'm connecting to, and there's a virtual one. I think that's for configuring the radio frequency stuff. But there's also the option here to click New. Now, we're calling it WLAN 2, and we're using VLAN 2 just to be convenient and less confusing. These numbers don't need to match, but we will match most of them. All right, so with this VLAN, now what's it going to connect through? Now, port 1. Now, basically, if I select this wireless LAN controller, there's only one port that's up, and that's gigabit Ethernet 1. And so that's what the 1 means. Now, this has actually been set up as a trunk link between the 2 devices, and so that's how we can get away with just having one interface running. So all the different VLANs will be done there. And so we are using VLAN identifier 2. We need to now set up the addressing. So 192.168.2 for VLAN 2 companion .254. The mask is default, and the gateway is .1. 192.168.2.1. Now the gateway or router has been set up for inter-VLAN routing. It's also been set up as a DHCP server, and so that's the address we need in there. And I think that's all we need. So if we hit apply, you get a warning that you might have a temporary loss of communication. It hasn't affected me yet. Oh, and the lights are out. No, you can't see that. All right, now hopefully, if I hit back, I should actually get a listing, and there's an extra interface now. And so, as you can see, this is the addressing, dynamic. Now, we need to, of course, create another new interface for VLAN 5. So, let's cover up VLAN 2 stuff so I don't get confused. WLAN 5 and VLAN ID 5. So you apply. Alright, so again, we need to use port 1. VLAN 5 had already filled in earlier, and so the addressing we need to do 192.168.5.254. And the gateway is 192.168.5.1. And Control C, Control V. And of course, again, it's been set up for a DHCP server for that VLAN. Okay, so if we hit apply again, should hopefully be good. The flicker is normally the indicator that it's gone through. And so now we have the 2 wireless VLANs prepared. Okay, so that's it. Now, while we're in controller mode, we can set up the DHCP scope as well. So as you can see, there's internal DHCP server and scope. And across to the right is the new button again. That's its name. We hit apply. And we've got a scope. It's just not very useful at the moment. So we need to go in and configure it now. So 192.168. Now, of course, this is the management VLAN, and that's for the it's for the lightweight access points, if you remember. 192.168.100.245, and then we've got oops. That in the wrong spot, didn't I? The network number 192.168.100.0. Sorry. And the router again is .1. And I don't think we need to fill in DNS servers. All right, so we apply there. You can see it buzzing away quickly. So we now have that DHCP scope. I just wanted to see if this LAP now I've got an IP address. Okay, so we've done DHCP. Now we need to do the server addresses. Now, might do SNMP first. Don't know why. Probably because it's quick. So that's under management, because simple network management protocol. So you can see that it supports all 3 versions. And so from there we need to create what's called a trap receiver. So of course a trap is when a device traps an event that needs to be reported, and it then sends it to the server. And so of course the server is a trap receiver. So eventually we'll get the dialog. So we have the community name, which is WLAN, wireless LAN, and the IP address is 10.6.0.254. Apply. And now we have a trap receiver. All right, now when it comes to a radio server, you need to go to security. And from there, again, because we don't have a radio server, we need to do new. Now server index is 1, so that's the priority, of course. Put in 10.6.0.254 is the server, and then we have the password, Control C, Control V, and that should all be good. I'll do the copy and paste because I typed it wrong one stage. So it's all enabled. Okay, so now we need to create the wireless LANs. So now we can actually get to the job that we wanted to do. But yeah, the only thing that had basically been done on this wireless LAN controller before we started playing with it was to set up the IP addressing and to set up a password, and that was about it. Alright, so we're going to create new, so go for that. Now we're calling this wireless VLAN 2. Wireless VLAN 2 and SSID-2. How imaginative. Now the ID number is just, I'm not sure exactly what this does, but it actually, all I've noticed that it does is it changes the order in which they're displayed. And so, you know, 1 is before 2, which is before 3, etc., etc., etc. So now we apply, and then it will ask a whole pile of extra questions. Once it loads. Now we need to enable the wireless LAN, otherwise it's no good to us. We need to choose wireless LAN 2 as our interface. And then we need to add some extra settings. Now, of course, this is the pre-shared key one, so all I need to do is go to security, choose to use WPA settings, and that would be WPA 2. And then we want a pre-shared key. And so Cisco 123. And I think that is all I need to do. Oh, wait a minute. There is some extra flex settings I've got to do, isn't there? And so this is for local switching and local authentication. So we'll click apply there. That should be enough. Alright. Back. So we should have a LAN in the list now. And we do. So SSID2, it's enabled. WPA2, pre-shared key. Can't ask for a lot more. So now we need to go for the next wireless LAN. So it's going to be ID 5. Wireless VLAN 5. SSID-5. Apply, and then of course we'll have to go into the extra details. So again, need to enable, need to choose the correct interface. We can do that advanced flex stuff before I forget. Then we go to security. So we're doing WPA, WPA2. Of course, 2 is what we're choosing. And we want the authentication, so it's 802.1x. Now, we then need to select our radius server. Of course, it's the one we prepared earlier. And I think that is that. So we'll hit apply. Back. And so we've got ID 5, which is wireless VLAN 5, SSID 5, WPA2, 802.1x. Cool bananas. Okay, now that is the wireless configured. And so I need to configure the host now. So wireless host 1 is going to use the pre-shared key, and wireless host 2 is going to use the authentication. And so I'll come up here just so I've got the details. Well, for wireless host 1, I'm going to be lazy and use this. So SSID #2, WPA2 pre-shared key, Cisco 123, and that should get us a connection. All good. Now wireless host 2. Again, we can do the config route on wireless. So SSID-5. Now we're just using WPA2, and we've got to use this username and this password. So user Wlan 5 and user W5 pass. That should get us connected. Now the authentication can take a little longer, but we've got the settings right because it's saying 100%. So just sometimes it takes a little while. But hey presto, there we go. So now let's test our connectivity again. So let's try pinging that. Winning. Let's use the DNS, see if that works. Control-C. Winning again. So DNS working. Suppose again we could try the web browser. And that's winning too. Okay, so bit of a lengthy process, but on the same token, that's setting up an enterprise wireless network. That's, well, it's only about half an hour, this video, and that's setting up 2 networks. And so now all I'd have to do is plug in some extra lightweight access points, and yeah, you've got an enterprise network. That would work very nicely. All right, well, that's going to be all for the demo today. We'll get back to you with a routing demo next. I'll talk to you then. Have a good one.